Yes, we are live, and we are back. It is Fatihletic The Podcast, live and in color on a new time slot for tonight only, 7 p.m. because, what is it,
It
Casey?
is our 1 year anniversary of this show.
1 year ago, actually last month, we're a couple of days behind.
Last week, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we started in October of last year, so we're in
Okay.
November. So,
Gotcha.
just to let a few people know a little bit of our history. So, I originally started with an upstart radio station called Crossover Radio. Crossover Radio, a Christian radio station, does a lot of sports, does a little bit of politics, does a live broadcast of high school and college football games, and a lot of different things, music and all kinds of different things. I joined their show a few months after they started. Joined the radio station a few months after they went online, and I brought in a good friend of mine, Big Nate. A lot of you remember when he started the show, and then we transitioned into Major. It was the OT with DB in the Major. And then we actually acquired a free agent called The Natural, a.k.a. KC, and he joined our show. And then in about October of a year ago, we started Fatihletic The Podcast.
That's right.
Something that KC, or I refer to as Kyle, which is his first name.
Yeah.
He and I had been talking about doing for several months, and we just felt like the opportunity had come up. And so here we are, Fatihletic The Podcast, 1 year later. Probably about 45 episodes. I still have to get some of the season 2 loaded onto our YouTube channel. And tonight we've got a really good show. You want to tell everybody who's coming in?
Yeah, so we have our good friend who watches almost every week and was very, very faithful, especially in the crossover days with the OT.
Yep.
And he's been found his way back. He's like a prodigal son of our show, almost.
Yep.
Which is David Carroll.
Yep.
So we'll talk.
Super fan.
Yep. So we thought it was about time to put him on the show, and
he's going to join us in about 5 minutes.
Sweet.
So Dave, I know you're listening. I will call you momentarily once we get through all the particulars. And then who else? Who we got?
And then we have Jim Davis.
Yeah.
So he is the head of the Good Athlete Project.
Absolutely.
And
fellow Chicagoan.
Love it. Love the 312. And he is a so you should actually tell a little more.
He goes all over the world trying to teach kids how to become better, not only a better person, but better physically, mentally, spiritually. He's a football coach by trade, strength coach by trade. Actually, an American record holder in powerlifting as well. And also played some professional football as well.
Right, and he is a Harvard grad, Yale grad. Harvard.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yes,
I think
it's Harvard or Yale.
It's not Yale.
It's
not Yale.
Yeah, it's an Ivy League school.
Yeah, it's Harvard.
Maybe we should.
He's got a master's from Harvard.
Gotcha.
Yep. So, and we're going to talk about his thing that happened over the summer. Which we did on online national powerlifting championships. We'll talk a little bit about that. But the really part I'm looking forward to is a special segment on Chicago-style pizza.
Yeah, we will talk about it. We'll talk about.
So get your knives and forks ready because you'll need it for this kind of pizza.
Yeah, you don't eat that with your hands.
No.
Unless you're crazy.
I prefer to eat it with my hands, but
Maybe you got to get to a certain point.
Yeah, where you can pick it up.
Almost like a halfway point.
Pick it up.
No, you
can't pick it up.
No.
Also, we might mention that another addition to our show is home tonight. We won't say why, but he is not going to join us tonight. The Gunslinger. He does have his predictions in.
Yes.
So we will go over those. And I thought, since Mr. Carroll is an NFL fan, we might have him join us for the predictions while he's still on the show with us. So we'll give him 5 games to pick. We'll see how he stacks up against the experts. Who do you think's leading?
It is got to be you.
No.
Me.
Barely.
It's me, barely?
Barely.
I don't even know if I put up my picks last week.
Out by an eyelash at third.
Well,
but
come after me.
Yep, I'm coming, baby. It's coming all the way.
I love it. So, but yeah, how have you been, Dan?
Well, I've been busy. but all survived no power. That was one of the reasons we weren't here last week. Well, actually, 2 weeks ago, we didn't have power, so I couldn't do the show without power,
Sure.
right? No internet, no lights.
Right.
And then last week, I was out of town on a business trip, so we had a 2-week hiatus, and we'd already had this week scheduled. We had decided this was going to be our 1-year anniversary show, a special 2-hour show, by the way.
Yes, that's right.
2 hours. If we can make it that long, if people can stand us, we'd appreciate you sticking around with us for the 2 hours.
At least an hour and a half.
I bet we go 2 hours. I bet we could probably go longer than that. But let your friends know. Share this if you're on Facebook. Let them know. Special Chicago pizza. David Carroll telling you the guy's got some stories. He was a flicker away, and I'll let him tell you more. He almost became part of the AWA wrestling family.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's got a great story there. So I'm really looking forward to listening to him. And, in fact, if you want to tell people how they can get our show if they miss it today, and let me kind of connect the call with Mr. Carroll.
Yeah, so the way that you go connect us is that you can go to, right now you're on Facebook, which is great. You can share those pages. We'd also love it if you can share the YouTube. Go to the YouTube channel, and we have Fatihletic The Podcast on there. And so we would love it if you went there, click the subscribe button, click the like button, all of the things. So we would love it if you could join us that way. So, but we are very, very excited about what God, actually, the Lord has done in the past year through this podcast, and it's connected a lot of sports fans and faith, just a lot of Christians as well. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, so
thank you for spreading that message around. We'll get into that a little bit more at the end of the show as well, just to remind folks. But without further ado, I would like to bring in our special super fan all the way from the Houston, Texas area. And I guarantee you this guy's going to entertain you for a couple of minutes. Mr. David Carroll. David, welcome to our show.
Howdy, howdy.
Hey, man, that's his famous intro, too.
It is. Yeah, I love it. So
hear the howdy.
Happy 1-year anniversary, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, David. We appreciate it.
We appreciate your following and your support and just, listening to us and giving, because every time we see your name pop up, we get excited, like, there he is, he's there.
That's right. That's for sure.
Well, I feel honored. That's flattery. That the best form of that. I can't remember the phrase at the moment. Now I'm going blank, but that's okay.
Well, that happens sometimes when people are on the spot. So when I talked to you yesterday, you had let me know there's some things you're also doing, mainly with Crossover. Why don't you tell us what you're doing there?
Well, I guess you can say good morning. It's National Day. Okay. I look up and research what National Day is, and I come up with a 1-minute synopsis of what is National Day. Mostly, we talk about the goodies, the food.
Okay. National Pizza Day, National Hot Dog Day, stuff like that.
Yeah, like today's National Pizza Without Anchovies Day.
Hey, that's a good day, because I don't like anchovies.
That's interesting.
Right. So, it's every Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. He says it's Bobby in the morning, and I'm in the chair over there. And we're in 2 separate control rooms, but I shouldn't spoil the surprise, the magic of radio.
Yeah, so David, we're definitely thankful that you join us every week, and we know that you're also a big wrestling fan like us, and you have some stories there too. Is that right?
Well, yes. That's it's entertainment to me first and foremost. But I grew up in Wisconsin in the territory days with the AWA and all before WWF took over.
Yes.
I say it that way because that's what took over, and then it became what we know now as WWE. So,
have you had a chance to watch any of the AEW yet?
I watched the first Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes battle.
Yep.
and that was about the most I've actually watched.
It's about as
be
close
honest with you.
as you can get. Obviously, we're never going to have the territorial days again, but the storylines to me are less comic bookish.
Right.
Yes,
and it's
yes,
more
I agree.
athleticism, and I
Right.
enjoy it. And I'm actually I've kind of quit watching WWE. It just doesn't interest me anymore. But the AEW, and I know did you do the thing last
I
week?
didn't actually, but I watched last night. It was
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
The Lucha Bros match
Yeah.
was incredible.
Anyway, it's very entertaining, and they've got Jake the Snake Roberts in there now as a mouthpiece for one of the wrestlers, and who was Dean Ambrose, which is now John Moxley. He's the world champion, and then Chris Jericho, which you probably remember him. He's one.
Yeah, I would have to say he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and he's been kind of one of the mentors and bringing some of these young people up. And there's a new guy in there that kind of reminds you a little bit of MJF. Who does he remind you of in old days, kind of?
I don't even know, honestly.
He's
I'd have to say Bobby Heenan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe
you say
a little.
about like a just straight up heel.
Yeah,
like
he's a heel.
Yeah.
The Weasel, as we used to call him in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
So tell you talked to me yesterday about how you almost became a pro wrestler. Tell us how that came about.
Well, I took amateur wrestling since like third grade, and I loved leverage, and I was very flexible. So I guess that helped me with the bigger guys. And I went through sixth grade before my family moved to Illinois, but it just came natural to me. It was something that was, like I say, it was more than entertainment. It was how strategizing and how to get the guy on the mat, or how to what's to counter what the other guy was doing.
Right. Reverses.
So yeah, learning the leverage thing. And I guess fifth grade I got third in the All-State of Wisconsin.
Wow. Okay. Very cool.
It's impressive.
Yeah. So it was what was going on, and like I said, at an early age, my father was one of the TV cameramen for Vrangania's association somewhere up near Green Bay.
That's cool.
Okay.
And so I got to meet the wrestlers and see the behind the scenes of what went on. Learned a lot of different things, tactics, moves, inspiring things. And family moved to Illinois, and that kind of I kind of got out of it from there. But then, of course, the entertainment came along, and I, of course, became a fan.
Right.
Just die hard. Whatever I could learn, I would love to learn again. And then a physical disability I didn't realize I had until way later in life. But it explains a lot. I couldn't take the bumps. That was the hardest part of the training for me. And so I just guess became an artist, and what I do now, a radio DJ.
Very cool.
Well, so tell us who your favorite AWA wrestler is.
Overall, I'd have to say the Crusher.
The Crusher.
Crusher.
Yes.
There.
Him and Dick the Bruiser.
What a great classic name, too, the Crusher.
He was an old school tough guy too. I mean,
the man that made Milwaukee famous.
Oh, there you go. Here comes the impressions.
Yeah, I know you got your Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, I got a little bit. Let me tell you something. I could take the Crusher out. No doubt, Bionic Elbow did that, baby, because you understand that I dine with kings and queens, and I eat pork and beans, baby.
Son of a plumber.
Son of a plumber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll take you, son of a plumber, and I'll put you through that cage. You won't go in it. You'll go through it.
I love it.
That's good stuff. We could probably have a little promo between you.
right.
That is awesome.
So let's play a little game here. So obviously I'm an NWA guy. You're an AWA guy. So I'm going to give you a matchup. And
Okay.
you're probably going to be a little bit biased, but I don't care. It'll be fun. So I'll take a classic AWA guy against an NWA guy. You tell me who wins, straight up. Okay? You ready?
Okay. Yep.
Nick Bockwinkel versus Terry Funk.
Terry Funk by a long shot.
Wow, yeah, there you go. See, he knows I'm a Terry
He
Funk
knows
fan.
that's
Yeah.
right.
All right.
No, I typed it in and you didn't say it, and I don't know if I can say it. But it's rhymes with Prissy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nick Bockwinkel was a drama king.
Yeah, he was definitely that. I mean, he was an entertainer though, and he was great on the mic.
Yes, he was. I have to give him that credit.
He definitely knew the psychology of a promo. All right, here's another one. Your guy, the Crusher, against Harley Race.
Ooh.
Crusher all the way.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
All the way.
You know that Harley Race.
Tuxedo match.
Yeah,
if you remember Crusher's tuxedo match.
I do not remember that.
No? Well, Crusher and I believe it was Mad Dog Vachon before they became partners.
Okay.
Both had to dress up in a tuxedo, and the first person to basically strip a guy down to his wrestling tights.
Oh, yeah,
Won
similar to
the
that.
match.
Yeah, tuxedo match. Yeah,
Yeah, tuxedo match.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was a lot. There was a lot of them.
Harley Race was considered to be one of the all-time tough guys. Really legit
Yep.
guys.
I threw him in there with Stan Hansen.
Yeah, Stan was a tough guy, and another West Texas State prodigy, which you and I talked
as
to.
we all know where West Texas State University or whatever it was that you just mentioned.
Yep.
Bruiser Brody.
Bruiser Brody. You know his real name?
I think we lost connection, guys.
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can now.
Do you know Bruiser Brody's real name?
Frank Goodish.
You got it, baby.
He started in the AWA.
Yes. Well, kinda.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
he got notoriety in the AWA, but he started in Amarillo, Texas.
right.
So,
And then he fought for Paul Bosch in Houston.
Houston, yeah.
And then also went to World Class up in Dallas.
Yep, he did. That's where he kind of got famous. That in Japan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Moment of silence for Bruiser.
Yep. Yes. Kind of senselessly killed in Puerto Rico. That's a great story on Dark Side of Wrestling, by the way.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's a great story. Okay.
I've watched it a couple times.
So, Battle of the Managers. Let's go Bobby the Brain Heenan versus James J. Dillon of the Four Horsemen.
Oh, that got him there.
No, I think I would have to go with the Weasel, even though he's more hated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he had a wrestling background before he became manager, I believe.
Oh, that's
like
right.
Back in the '60s, right?
Yeah, he was for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he really wanted to be, was a wrestler, but he realized he just...
Bobby the Brain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But,
And so was Jim Dillon was
Sure.
a wrestler, too.
But, just everybody hated him so much.
Yeah.
Means he was doing his job.
Yeah, he was.
Yep.
It's harder to be a heel than it is a face.
Yeah, you got to be able to take the booze.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't let your ego get in the way when you're a heel.
All right, how about the battle of world champions, Vern Gagne versus Dory Funk Jr.?
Ooh. I'll have to go with my man Vern.
Yeah, well, I disagree.
He was, Vern was a tactician there.
So was Junior.
And so I mean, I don't know. I could see that match going at least 2 hours.
Oh yeah. And I think what I give a lot of credit to Vern is his training methods. They may have been a bit orthodox and kind of slavish thinking, but he produced, guys like Ric Flair and Greg Gagne and Ken Patera and
lest we forget Terry Bolley.
yeah, there you go. So the Hulk Hogan. So
yes,
a lot of wrestlers he went through his camp in the barn or whatever they call it. I don't remember what. Do you remember what it was called?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah.
That would occur to me to have to Googleize it.
Probably
I can't remember offhand.
3 most classic wrestling schools territories, probably, or maybe 4. You probably could throw Crusher Kowalski in there. His school, Stu Hart in the dungeon, Vern Gagne's barn, and then the Amarillo Dory Funk Sr. Because I think if we put apples to apples, you would probably have to say those 4 contributed more to the wrestling stars than any 4 people in the history of the sport. So
yeah, they planted a lot of seeds.
They did.
Well,
they did
for sure.
All right, so
who's your favorite wrestler, Casey? I've always wondered.
I am just. I know it's not anything out of the ordinary, but I love The Rock. That was mine growing up, and I didn't get to do the territory days or anything like that. But The Rock and Stone Cold in that battle really turned me on to wrestling, and haven't really looked back since. But
gotcha.
Yeah, those are 2 of my favorites. But I love going back and watching guys like Jake the Snake and Ric Flair and just all those mid '80s character wrestling guys were fun, and one of the more recent ones is I love CM Punk. He's one of my favorites of all time too.
He's a Chicago guy.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. Like I think we could all agree. It's just being there live is one of the most. It's just one of the most fun things ever. It's exhilarating. It's fun to be a part of the chance. It's just, there's even one time I went to Raw by myself. I could not find anybody to go. I'm like, I'm going, and I'll find friends there because everybody's kind of cut from the same cloth a little bit. And I really, I love it, and got to go see CM Punk a couple times, and it's such a fun thing for sure.
Well, I certainly.
It's definitely different without the announcers.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep, and you are such a part of the show when you're there. Like your voice matters, and all of that, which makes it such a great, a good hobby to have, and it's been hard for me to watch it without the fans lately, but I'm coming back to it, and it was. Even AEW last night was excellent with.
I gotta go back and watch it.
Yeah. So anyway,
the thing that I think most people don't understand, I know David would get this, but the ones that are watching today, you and I, David, watched wrestling in the arena when there was no entry music and no promos. They wrestled. That's it. There was a wrestling match.
Yeah.
You might have some storylines going on before and after the match, but you didn't have anybody with a microphone. So everybody could hear what was going on. It was just pure, body language. That's
right.
The promos
and adrenaline.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely adrenaline rush.
So that's probably where we got the feel of, just being a part of it because we saw it happening.
Yep.
All right. So one of the things that I mentioned to you, I know you're an NFL fan. You like you like National Football League. So we thought we'd include you in our predictions of the NFL this year. You up for that?
That sounds like a plan.
Okay, so we generally pick 5 games in the pros, and we can. I don't know what Casey's picks are, so he can do his picks as we do this, and I'll do mine, and we'll see how you stack up next week against the experts. How's that sound?
That sounds like a plan.
All right, first game, Minnesota at Chicago. I'll let you go first, David.
We'll go Chicago.
The Bears. Kyle?
Not Bears. Not Bears.
I'm going to go with Minnesota because I think,
What?
Yeah, I think that Bears offense is something terrible.
And there's going to be 3 foot of snow in Chicago during the game, right?
Man, I did not heard that yet, but I'm excited now.
I'm shocked.
I love me a snow game. That's for sure.
I'm shocked. I'm going to go with the Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears. The
Bears.
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 The Bears.
All right, second game, Los Angeles Chargers. I don't even know. I can't believe I even said that. At Miami.
I'll go Dolphins.
Okay. So Kyle's going
San Diego.
You're going. Well, you might lose that game.
San Diego.
San Diego. I actually have the Chargers as well.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, third game. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills at Arizona.
I'm going to go Cardinals.
No.
I'll go Buffalo.
Yeah, me too. I'm Buffalo today. Buffalo, and I'll give you Gunslinger's picks here in a second when we're done. And then the fourth game, Houston, and I want to say the Oilers, but it's the Texans. At Cleveland, the Baker Mayfields.
Yeah.
Just, I don't want them to, let's see, what was I going to say? I don't want them to break their losing streak, so I'm going to go the Browns.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. I'm going to go Texans.
Okay. Count those Texans, and I'm going to go with the Browns as much as it pains me because I can't stand Baker Mayfield.
Man, I'm just going, I know you say I'm from the Houston area, so I should be picking Houston, but they got a good thing going. They're losing. It's
playing for the draft.
It's consecutive. They're being consecutive, so
playing for the draft.
They'll come back in the second part of the season. I think they'll win more games than they lose once they get that first win. But not this week.
Have they not won a game yet?
They have. I think they have. They
Okay.
just, I can't remember what their record is.
And then the last game that we're picking is the game that's actually getting ready to start, if it hasn't already, the Indianapolis Colts at Tennessee Titans.
Go Tennessee.
Tennessee, okay.
I'm gonna say Titans as well.
Yeah, I got Titans as well. Okay, so Gunslinger had Chicago, the Chargers, the Cardinals, the Browns, and the Titans. So that's kind of how it stacks up.
Okay.
So we appreciate you contributing to that. And hey, David, listen, we certainly appreciate your support and your viewership and your listening to us. Tell us why you even tune into the show.
The sports talk is, again, like I said, entertainment. But what to me hits home is the devotionals. I mean, there's times where I've been down and out, and you or KC would have one, and it would hit home, and it would, strengthen my faith. I'm a Bible guy. I'm one that, I even have a Bible verse for you guys just before signing off and everything. And it's just something that's been burning in my soul, and it's continued for the last 30 years, I'm grateful that even though I've never met you with a handshake or a high five or now I guess a fist bump.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I've gotten to know you through this show, and I see your heart, and your heart's the same as mine. We're simpatico, or whatever you say.
Right.
Love it.
Well, what I appreciate about I've had dental work today, Dave. So I may sound like I can't talk, but I've got
that's okay.
Mouth a little bit numb. But what I appreciate about you is that I had hip surgery a year and a half ago, and David almost once a month asks me how the hip is because he's experienced hip issues as well. And I'm grateful that.
Hence, couldn't take the bumps.
Yeah, I couldn't take the bumps. Well, my problem is I probably took too many bumps because being a powerlifter and 600 pounds on my back for 30 years, I think it did a number on my hip. But
well, I get it. Mine's genetic, but I'm just as God made me.
Yep.
I waddle just fine.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all?
Yeah.
So, what parting words can you give for us tonight?
Okay, well, first of all, one thing that we did skip is that, not only am I on for that 1 minute in the mornings,
right.
2 minutes in the morning, I also have something called the Midnight Metal Monastery, which is, Christian hard metal music.
Okay.
Hence the name Midnight Metal Monastery. It's on crossover at midnight on Saturday nights and replays Sunday morning at 4 a.m. So if you like hard, thrashing music, screaming vocals, some of them sound like Cookie Monster.
Okay.
But if you like that kind of thing, tune in. It's right after the top 11 at 11. And before that is Robbie's Rock and Roll Asylum that I'm assistant music director. So all Saturday night after 8, check out Crossover Radio.
We'll do that, and I know that occasionally I still go back and listen to the shows. I have a strong connection with those guys over Crossover, as I told you yesterday.
Yeah. Well, Crossover Radio was one thing that kept me sane during Hurricane Harvey.
Oh,
man.
And I don't mean to rhyme, kept me sane in the hurricane, but that's how I talk. So, but my last parting word would be from the Word. And it says, but you, when you pray, go into your room, and when you have shut the door, pray to your Father who is in secret, or in the secret place. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. And that's from Matthew 6, verse 6.
Love it, David.
And that's the whole, my point is that since the beginning of 2020, before all this stuff that rhymes with Billy Ray Cyrus, I just want to say that, he's brought me to praying without ceasing.
Yep.
Love it.
And right there is my devotion for today.
Well, he is on the throne and always will be.
Yeah. And exactly. Doesn't matter what else goes around us. Put up your shield of faith to quench those darts of the evil one.
Absolutely.
So, put on your full armor of God. Yep. And I guess that's all I have to say. Listen to my shows if you can.
Yeah, we'll do that, David. And, man, I just can't tell you how much we appreciate you coming on the show tonight, celebrating this 1 year. And
happy anniversary.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for joining us, and wish you all the best in our prayers. And, don't be a stranger, man.
Yep. And in the words of Ric Flair,
woo!
All right, buddy. Have a good night. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Bye, David. Thank you.
Bye. Later, Casey.
And that was David Carroll, super fan.
He is. He crushed it.
He did.
So thankful for him. He's great insight on the
good entertainment.
It was good. So thankful that he could join us. That's for sure.
So I got a thing to announce.
What you got?
So this Saturday afternoon in Shawnee, Oklahoma, Team Black Powerlifting goes to war.
With who?
Well, we're going into a powerlifting meet next Saturday.
You are?
Yeah, we got 6 guys with it.
Heck yeah, I didn't know that was coming down the pike.
Been training, man.
I know you've been training because you guys are, I see those Saturday,
Yeah. We've got 6 that are competing. 2 of those have we had 3 actually have 3. 3 that broke American records back in July. I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
They're going to break the records.
Okay.
The ones they set in July.
All right.
Actually,
I was there for some of that.
Yeah, you were.
So yeah, it was pretty cool to see.
Actually,
them.
August 1st was the date of that. But yeah, it's the USPF Crane Open
in
Shawnee, 10 a.m. Saturday. Team Black, who is the defending state powerlifting champions, and they're not defending that title this week because you can only do that at the state meet.
Sure.
But you never know.
Yeah,
the belt's not on the line.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Not title match.
Non-title match.
The reigning, defending
USPF State Powerlifting Powerlifting champions.
You need Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Paul, my name is Paul Heyman.
I'm an advocate.
That's pretty solid, dude.
I'm an advocate
that might be your best one.
for Brock Lesnar.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's pretty good, huh?
That's pretty good. That's solid.
I'm pretty good.
Brock Lesnar.
I still remember him as Paul E. Dangerously.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what he was when he was when he came into the NWA or WCW.
Okay.
He was Paul E. Dangerously.
He wasn't a wrestler then?
No, he was a manager.
No, he was a
then.
manager. He's always
And
been.
then he was basically the founder of ECW.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
just an incredible wrestling mind.
He is
he's
a good.
very good.
Although he got fired as the creative control guy or booker. or
Yeah,
whatever.
that was probably a bad idea,
Yeah,
though. I
but
mean, why?
anyway, it's pretty smart.
Yeah.
There's
He's good,
a
though.
that's and not to get chase all our people off, but one thing I'm just fascinated by is behind the scenes in pro wrestling, probably more than I am about the wrestling itself. It's behind the scenes. So just the bookers and who determines. And back in the day, most people don't realize this. Is the world champion was not decided by the board of directors. I'm sorry, by the president or the owner. It was decided by the board of directors. So when they talked about the territories, there was about 20 territories back in the day, and they voted who the world champion would be every year, not just every 5 years.
Right. Okay.
So when they said, okay, who do you want to be the champion at that time, it was done by a committee. It wasn't done by one person.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and there were generally like 5 names they'd throw around, and they'd all plead their case on why this person's to be the champion. And mainly it was their guy in their territory.
Sure.
But the one that had the most power and the most influence would generally get the most votes. Kind of like
Right.
it is today.
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
everything else. But pretty
Interesting.
fascinating, yeah. Yeah. Yep. So, you want to go ahead and finish our predictions since we got the first part of them?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I've got some things to talk about in the NCAA.
It's not looking so hot
It's
right
it's
now.
it's almost looking like a setup.
I don't know if it's a setup so much as, we tried to have football in a global pandemic, and it's not going as well as we wanted.
Well, still
it
everybo's
to.
playing. I mean, not everybody, but majority.
Yeah, I mean Ohio State's out this weekend.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're not playing this weekend.
Okay.
Few others, but yeah, we'll see. But I would like to hear about it. Would you like to do predictions first?
Yeah, let's do predictions.
Okay.
Okay. So our good friend and co-host, the Gunslinger, is the producer of our prediction segment.
Yes, he is.
So he picks the games, we pick them, and the first 5 games you heard with David Carroll, he picked those 5. So here's our next 5. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. TCU at West Virginia.
I'll go West Virginia.
Kyle likes West Virginia. You know what? So does the Gunslinger. He goes with West Virginia. But you know what? I'm going TCU. I feel an upset coming.
Okay.
All right. Can't tell you why. I don't know. I just don't think West Virginia's very good.
You don't think so?
I think defense wins.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Woo Pig, the Arkansas
Who got another
Razorbacks.
W this past weekend?
God,
against
yeah, they're
Tennessee.
3-3 now.
Yeah.
3-3, which is like double their production last
Triple.
year. So yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I know they didn't win in the SEC.
Oh,
They-
yeah. Right about
yeah,
that.
they have not won 3 games.
They're like
in
1-27 the
Yeah,
last 3 years
yep.
in the SEC. Yeah.
So
Arkansas at Florida.
I'm gonna go Florida here.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad call. I think we all did. So Gunslinger went Florida. I'm going with Florida. I don't know. They're just out. They're just outmatch Arkansas right now. Although I like what's going on there though,
Sam Pittman's pretty awesome.
and their coach has been he's got COVID.
Oh, does he?
Arkansas's coach does.
Oh no.
So he won't be on the sidelines
That's Sam
this week.
Pittman.
Yeah,
So yeah.
he's a good guy.
Yep.
Wisconsin Badgers, right? Badgers?
I don't believe they're playing this weekend.
Did they cancel it?
Oh yeah, they've been. I
Oh, well, we
believe
better
so.
pick another game.
I'm pretty sure. Let me look,
Yeah, I want you to look that up,
Yeah,
and I'll
'cause
find
they
another
all-
game while you're at it.
because they all had COVID, so we'll see.
Oh, well, we probably
And-
need to have some backup games
And,
just in case
and
some of
Big
these.
Ten is very, very strict.
They're on the
Yeah.
weekend too.
Yeah, they are.
I mean by weekend meaning. Ooh, all right. We're gonna pick a couple of backup games just in case we have cancellations.
Yeah.
in the pros in the college ranks.
Yeah, because I don't know. I can't see.
It says well,
No.
they're still listed on ESPN.
Are they against Michigan?
Says at 6:30 ABC.
I suppose they are.
So
All right.
we'll go ahead and pick it, and then we'll pick a couple of backup games just because I've got some interesting games I think we could pick that aren't in this week's lineup.
Well, I would like to pick Wisconsin, but they are not sure if Graham Mertz will start, who is incredible. So I'll take Michigan in this one.
Taking Michigan. The Gunslinger goes with Wisconsin, and I'm going to stick with Wisconsin. I think Michigan's in trouble.
Yeah, they do seem.
They are in trouble right now.
So maybe Jim Harbaugh to Texas?
I guess they can try that if they want.
Just saying.
Can't be. I really don't like. You know what? I would just prefer for Tom Herman to stay down there.
Forever?
Yeah.
Because he stinks?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because that's one of my topics, because I think Texas is just getting. They're getting a lot of favoritism in the Big 12, and I'll tell you why.
Well, okay.
Okay. Next game. What about Penn State at Nebraska? Is that game still going?
Yeah, Nebraska will win.
You think
so?
so?
No, Penn State will win.
They'll
Nebraska will get their butts kicked.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I got Penn State in that one.
Yep.
Oh, really? I got this right? Hold on a second.
I don't know.
Because I'm not showing this game. The Gunslingers sent Indiana at Michigan State. Oh, you know what? I must have read it wrong. I got Iowa. It's Indiana. That's my mistake. Indiana at Michigan State. And by the way, the Hoosiers are 3-0.
They're like number 6 in the country too, or something like that.
Yeah, that won't last.
And they're playing who?
Michigan State.
I believe Indiana will win that football game.
I would agree with you. I had initially had Michigan State, but I think Indiana's for real, everybody.
I think so too.
So the Gunslinger picked Michigan State.
All right.
But you and I are going with Indiana.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Okay. And then that's it. No pros. Or the college. So let's pick us a couple of backup games in case some of them get canceled. How about, this one intrigues me, even though it doesn't have as much national notoriety, it's more local. SMU at Tulsa.
Tulsa, I'm going to say Tulsa. They've looked good this season. So I'm going to go Tulsa just for the heck of it.
If you're listening, and I'll text you later. I'll text him later if we don't get the pick. But I'm going with Tulsa as well.
All right, okay.
And then our last backup game, let me see here. Alabama LSU. Do we even want to put that one in there?
I don't care. Whatever you think.
Let me see what else is available.
I think Bama wins by a long shot.
Yes. How about let's do Miami at Vautech?
Okay, I'm going to go Miami.
So I would agree with you. You picked Tulsa. I picked Miami. Okay. Those are our backup games in case we have cancellations. And if we don't have cancellations, we'll just have an extra game to pick. So the record right now for the season is Josh and I, the Gunslinger, are tied at 47-29.
Okay.
You are one game ahead at 48-28. One game. Going down to the wire.
Right where I want them. Right where I want you guys.
That's interesting.
It is. It's pretty interesting.
It is. I didn't think it'd be that close.
Man.
Because I figured I'd be like 10 games behind by now.
But you're
seriously.
not.
No, I'm not. So let's talk about our favorite teams for a second. I don't know if you know the Chiefs, obviously. So talk about where we are with the Chiefs right now. How do you feel?
It's crazy.
You know what? We talked about this, which we'll probably wait till next week to do it so we prepare for it. But I would kind of like to have a mid-season playoff.
Yeah.
If the season ended this Sunday, we'll do this next Thursday.
Sure.
Who's in the playoffs? Who wins? that kind of thing. Our 2 cents.
So, I mean, here's the thing about the Chiefs is that they're just on autopilot, and nobody is like paying any attention to how great they are. I mean, they are
pretty good.
Far and away to me the best team in football. And
who's
of course,
calling the plays down there?
Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid, both of them.
Who's designing these plays? Who's designing?
Probably Andy Reid is my guess.
Why? I know he's a smart guy. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I've always liked Andy Reid, even when he was with the Eagles, even though I hated the Eagles then.
Sure, yeah.
Kind of like them now because I like what they stand for.
Sure.
But why can't some of these other teams figure out what they're doing and just implement? So I know you got to execute. I get the talent, all that stuff. Trust me, I understand all that.
It's this.
But I see teams that it's like, don't you have a better play to call than that?
Yeah, it is kind of unbelievable, and it's like, I've kind of stood in the sense that Kansas City has almost toyed with teams that they've yet to show their best selves, and in the games that they have really excelled, I mean, they are blowing people out, and Chad Henne's in the game instead of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes is that's the other engine that goes in this thing. So not everybody has.
I get it.
Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he has 25 touchdowns and 1 interception on the season.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking about that. Now people are starting to be like, oh my gosh, like, this is going to be like the Jordan years where he doesn't win the MVP because it's just like, look at what he's doing. Or it's just, this is what's supposed to happen. So I don't know. I think the Chiefs are still the best team in football. I think the Steelers are still, like, their defense is so strong, but I think they're only as good as Big Ben, and Big Ben he's going to get hurt, I think. Like, I don't think he's durable enough to get through the whole season.
Well, he hasn't been in a while.
No, so, like, nothing tells me that he's gonna
and they shouldn't have won Sunday.
No, and when they put Mason Rudolph, as much as we love him, like, that whole team just
not the same team.
No, it's not the same team. So all that being said, I think that the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL, and I know that's probably biased, but I think anybody that's watched the Chiefs and watched the rest of the NFL is that they are the best competition, and the best thing that happened to them is when they lost to the Las Vegas, honestly, in my opinion, because I think that was pretty huge for them to kind of get the taste of losing, so it got their rears in gear.
Maybe.
Yep. So that's just my opinion. But
that's the easy answer for a loss, I guess.
Yeah.
No, we needed that.
I really think that, and I honestly don't think they're going to lose a game the rest of the season.
No, they might not. Let's pull your schedule up. Let's just see.
Oh,
what it looks
it's easy. They're on a bye this week, and then they play.
They'll win that one.
Yep, they'll win that one.
That's what I'm saying about Dallas.
They
don't
won't
have a
lose
game
it
this
either.
week.
Yeah.
They'll have to go through another week of disappointment.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, the toughest they have on the schedule is the Saints. I can't remember when it is. Hold on.
And where it is.
Yep.
Saints are playing pretty doggone good right now.
This week they did.
They did a spanking on Tampa Bay.
Yep. So they play the rest of the season. We play the Raiders next week.
They'll probably win that because they lost the first one.
Yep. Buccaneers. I think they'll beat the Buccaneers.
Probably.
Broncos.
Yes.
Yep. Dolphins.
Yes.
Saints.
Where's it at?
In New Orleans.
Maybe could be a loss.
Falcons.
No.
Chargers.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, I don't think
depends on where the Chargers are to make. They've lost too many games. They're like 2-7.
Yeah,
now.
I don't think that Tom Brady offense can keep up with the Chiefs offense.
I don't see Tampa Bay beating them, but I do see the Saints giving a run for their money.
Yeah, I just don't.
It's a coaching matchup, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's just so weird because I just expect that the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl at this point. It's expected, and they're better than everybody. And on defense, they've only, last week they gave up a bunch of points to Carolina because they got Christian McCaffrey back. But, since, let's see, 9 points, 16 points, 17 points, 10 points. Y'all, that's the thing is, like, you have to score more than 30 to beat this team.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah. Even in the rain, the Chiefs won 26-17. and it was the nastiest weather.
Where's that? Who's that against?
In Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have to score more than 30 for you to
Yeah.
even give yourself a shot. And even then, the Panthers lost last week and then put in 31. And they played the perfect game. They called 2 fake punts
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
everything, and they still lost. So it says a lot about the Chiefs.
They called
for
a good
sure.
game. They played to win, which is I love coaches that do that. You know what? We got nothing to lose. Let's just pull it out. Let's just pull auto stops.
So what about your Cowboys?
Yeah,
though? Do you even want to talk about them?
Yeah,
or
I'll talk
is
about
that
it for
enough
a second. So I did not. I have pretty much dialed them out as far as watching. I almost got sucked in Sunday because my MO is, and if those of you who don't know, and I know Kyle probably knows this, there are games where I won't watch, but I'll keep up with Gamecast. And almost every game, except for the couple of blowouts they have chances to win it at the end. There are 2 games they didn't, which was the Cardinals game, and I think there was one other where they're completely blown out. But they've been close to winning these games. And so I'll tune in to see what's going on at the end, and they'll lose. I didn't get sucked in last Sunday, but I did follow what was going on after the game, and I'm just telling you, they got jobbed. And I know you expect me to say that, but they got jobbed.
Yeah, I understand.
I
get it.
I know you'll say they understand, but they did. I mean, Vander Esch gets called for a personal foul when all he's doing is moving the guy's hand away from his face mask. When the guy has a hold of his face mask and he just pushes it out of the way, he gets called for a personal foul. That kept the drive alive. Then and I don't know which one was first or second, but then you get Jalen Smith called for trying to block Roethlisberger's pass, and he barely hits the top of his helmet, and he's called for personal foul on the quarterback, or late hit on the quarterback, which is just a bunch of bogus. And so those are 30 yards of penalties they got hit with in the last closing minutes of the game. And then there was another play, and I can't even remember what it was, that was controversial. So 3 calls that the Steelers had to have to win that game. And so I think it was a pass interference penalty, and I don't even remember what it was. But I didn't see that one, but I did read about it. And I went back and looked at the other 2 plays just because I read about it. I don't remember where I saw it, Twitter or something, where it said absolute, bogus call on Jalen Smith, on Vander Esch. And I thought, why? And you got to remember, you know this, Kyle. I've got this this conspiracy theorist thing on the Cowboys.
You definitely do.
But it is fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers are the most protected franchise in NFL history. It's a fact.
No, the Cowboys are.
No, they're not. Well,
Yeah.
evidently not. They haven't won a playoff game in 25 years. It can't be.
I don't know about that. Like, tell me why.
Why? There is against the Cowboys or
Yeah,
for the Steelers?
for the Steelers.
I just think that their long-standing influence in NFL with their family has granted them certain privileges. I give you an example. It started back in '72 when the Franco Harris Immaculate Reception,
Okay.
where there were 2 very distinct misses on that play. One is back in that day, 2 offensive players could not touch the ball simultaneously
Okay.
without a defensive player hitting it in between. So if it got tipped, defensive player had to tip it for it to be a live ball for the offense. So
Okay.
so that happened on that play, but didn't get called. Now it happened so fast he couldn't catch it, and then the ball hit the ground
Right.
when Franco Harris scooped it up off the turf. Go back and look at the video. You can
Oh,
tell it
yeah, he
hit
did.
the ground.
Yeah.
So those would have been no calls in instant replay. Of course, in 1972, you didn't have instant replay. So all I'm saying is it started there, and they've gotten calls and favoritisms and, rulings and things like that.
I just don't understand. I mean, it's Pittsburgh. It's not Dallas or Green Bay
No.
or like that's. Like,
It's
as far
a
as
blue-collar
city-wise,
city.
I get it. So
Yeah.
I don't know how protected I would call them from the NFL are, but I definitely would say I just feel like they try to give right now I'd say try to give Packers a chance more than anybody.
Well,
And the
that's always been the
Cowboys.
case with the Packers, too, because
Yes.
they're a small franchise. They're in a small market.
Yeah, so maybe it's just
It makes sense.
iconic, just that they're
Yeah.
iconic or
Yeah.
or whatever. I don't really know, to be honest with you, but Huh.
I mean, it's just it's my humble opinion, and that's the only way I can explain why why these calls go against the Cowboys, and I just think you put the two together. It's Steelers. You're trying to keep them undefeated, right? So it makes more sense.
Right.
Doesn't get Cowboys absolutely gain nothing by winning that game? Absolutely zero. Because I think they could get in the playoffs still. I mean, they're 2-7, but they still could get in.
Right.
Look at their schedule the rest of the way. Pull it up.
Cowboys?
Yeah, 2-7 right now. They're on a bye this week. Who they got left? And the Eagles only have one game lead, and they still got to play each other.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
They still got to play each other.
Yep. So they got the Vikings this week.
Next week.
Next week.
Where's that game at?
You have that in Minnesota.
Yeah, probably not going to win that one.
You have Washington football team.
I would be shocked if they lose that game.
Okay.
So they're 3-8.
Okay. And then you got the Ravens.
Lose 3-9.
Okay. You got the Bengals.
Should win 4-9.
Okay. You have the Cowboys. I'm sorry, the 49ers.
Probably win.
Okay.
5-9.
Ooh, I don't know. Okay, so Eagles. I think they'll win that game.
The only problem is at Philly. No, wait, where's
No,
that?
it's at Cowboys.
They'll win that game 6-9.
Okay, and then the Giants. They could
make the playoffs.
They could, which is insane to think.
As bad as they are, but a lot of that has to do with is who's quarterback. Because I think Garrett Gilbert did a heck of a job last week. I didn't see it, but based on what I read and the feedback I got, he did a whole lot better than Andy Dalton because he's more mobile.
Sure.
But I don't. They're going to have a mobile quarterback because they can't block.
Right.
So I don't know.
I don't know. I like Ben. I don't know. Garrett Gilbert, but much better than Ben DiNucci.
There's no doubt there.
No, yeah, Garrett Gilbert was much better.
But Andy Dalton will be back by next week.
Ooh, I don't know that Andy can move the ball much better.
That's what I'm saying. He can't. He's not mobile enough.
No.
Garrett can kind of get away from
No, you could see Andy.
I can't believe I'm even saying this, but I feel like there's a lot of doom in Dallas, but because the division is so bad, who else is going to win the thing?
That's the thing. It's like maybe the
7-9 gets them in.
Maybe the Eagles, but
they're not going to get in at 6-10. I promise you, the NFL will do everything they can to stop the 6-10 team. And look at the Eagles' schedule the rest of the way. Let's pull that up. And they're 3.
Hold on, I am
3-6-1.
Yes.
Or 3-5-1.
Yeah.
3-5-1. Right.
Yep. Let's see.
See what their schedule is. That tie is probably going to get the Eagles the tiebreaker over the Cowboys. They're going to end up 6-9-1.
Yep. So they got the Giants.
They should win. So that's 4-5-1. 4-5-1.
Yep.
Okay.
They got the Browns.
Where's it at?
At Cleveland.
Browns will probably win that.
Okay.
So 4-6-1.
Okay. They got the Seahawks.
They'll lose that. 4-7-1.
They'll at Green Bay.
4-7-1.
Okay. At or New Orleans. It's at Philadelphia.
Yeah, I don't care. 4-8-1.
Okay. They got the Cardinals.
Cardinals. They'll probably lose that. 4-9-1.
Yep, and then they have the
Cowboys,
and then they have Washington.
Let's say 4-9-1, 5-10-1. So the Cowboys game will probably determine who wins that division more than likely. The Cowboys-Eagles game probably determines that.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
And one's going to be 7-9, and one's going to be 6-10.
I think that the.
What do you think's going to happen?
I don't know. It just depends on the quarterback situation in
Dallas.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
If Garrett Gilbert can play like he did last week against this, it's a tough Steelers squad. But I just can't tell.
So I'll make a prediction.
Okay.
If it goes down to one game, Cowboys lose every time.
If it goes down to one, okay.
Cowboys lose every time.
Yes.
Now, I used to say it because Jason Garrett was the coach, but apparently it has nothing to do with it. because he lost one-game scenarios every time. Every time.
Yeah, the Giants and the Eagles.
The Eagles, Giants, Washington, all of them.
He did it to
He had
all
like
of them.
6 times in his coaching career, 10 years.
He absolutely did.
One game you're in, you lose, you're out, and he would lose every time.
It is wild, for sure.
So, it's interesting. So, let's go over to college for a second. 2 weeks ago, OSU got jobbed against Texas.
Okay, I'm listening.
You don't believe that? Did you
No,
see the game?
that game, yes, of course they did. That was... yes, it's been such a long time.
Yeah.
I was so into election stuff, being the history teacher that I am. But yeah, I that game they absolutely did get job
on
for
3
sure.
extremely critical plays.
Yes.
Okay, one of them was the roughing the punter, which he barely touched him. And let me give you the scenario if those are listening. Okay, so 4th and 22. A roughing into the run into the kicker is a 5-yard penalty to re-kick.
Mm-hmm.
But a roughing the kicker is 15 automatic first down. So they get the first down, the drive continues. Okay?
Okay. I'm listening.
When OSU had the football, after that score, Stoner catches a pass. Clearly a catch. It did hit the ground, but he had his hand under it. They called it a catch on the field. Even the replay experts that they have analyzed it said it's clearly a catch. But guess what? It's not a catch. So they overturned it. Clearly they caught it. His hand was under it, but it did hit the turf. And even the announcer said, or the experts that they have analyzing these plays, I can't remember what his name is, the guy from... Can't remember his name. Anyway, he said, well, that's clearly a catch. His hand's under it. He has control of the football. This will be Oklahoma State's ball. After the review, the play on the field is reversed. It's 4th down.
I wasn't able to watch that. I mean, I just heard about it. And
they got the ball back again, and they went down to score to tie it up, but they could have gone down and ended the game there. So, and then in overtime, on 3rd and a mile, they have a pass in the end zone, clearly trips over his own feet. Defender for OSU is 3 yards away from him. 3 yards away from him. But because when he falls, he trips the OSU guy, it's pass interference. So they get the ball to 2, they score the next play.
Yes.
And then when OSU gets the ball back to try to tie it up to force the second overtime, Spencer Sanders got hit in the head twice on helmet-to-helmet contact in the same play. No call.
It's a bummer.
Now, here's my next analogy. There is absolutely no way that the Big 12 wants OSU anywhere a part of the Big 12 championship game. And they got it figured out that if Texas beats OSU, and OU beats OSU, that gives OSU 2 losses. They both have 2 losses. Guess who goes? OU and Texas gets a rematch, and that's what the Big 12 wants. And they will do anything to stop that from happening. Anything. Because OSU is going to win out except for OU. They're going to lose to OU. It's going to happen. Because number one, it's in Norman. Number 2, Mike Gundy cannot figure out how to beat OU. Can't figure it out. He gets conservative.
No, he gets. It's like one of those things. As soon as he sees the OU helmet on the side, they're like, "Well, I can't play. Like, what do I do now?"
Let's hand off.
That's been the MO since I've lived here, which is 5 years.
Yep.
Of like, why would you all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to do this conservative play calling nonsense when that's not who you are, you know? And
they beat him in 2014, but that's because Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
That was Tyreek Hill taking a 90-yard punt return after Bob Stoops already kicked to it once and said, let's kick to him again.
It's crazy.
He takes back 91-yard punt return.
Yeah.
So and Gundy was concerned that game because I think the score was 13-13. They won 16-13 or whatever. So it was another one of those, let's just run 3-yard cloud of dust. And me and Toby kind of have this thing where he says Pat Jones is on the sideline again because he was the coach back in the 80s.
Sure.
And just let's win it on defense. Let's run the ball up the middle and win it on defense.
That defense is so strong.
It is good.
It is a good defense.
It's the best defense they've ever had.
And it just depends if they
they have a national championship defense
They do.
Right now.
They do.
Right
And it
now.
could be, great next year, but you don't know what Spencer Sanders
Well, you're
going
to
to
lose
do
all
with
your
Chuba.
offense next
Yeah,
year.
so it's like,
You got to do it
dang
now.
it. Yeah,
you
it's got to be now, and it's unfortunate that that's what happened against Texas for sure. So if you see me looking down on my iPad, Dan, I'm trying to get a PS5 here. I can't get it. It's impossible.
I'm sorry, man.
It's impossible.
All right. If you'll tell people again one more time how to get in touch with our show, and I'm going to get Mr. Jim Davis online.
So yes, we are headed into. We've started hour number 2 here at Fatihletic The Podcast. So we are here for our first anniversary show. Again, make sure that you're with us every single week. You can go to facebook.com, go to Fatihletic in the search bar. We're always here every Thursday night at 8 o'clock. We'll be here. You can also go on YouTube. Check us out there, like, comment, subscribe. So make sure that you join us. Do all that you can every Thursday. Tell your friends, too. Tell your friends. Maybe? Jim, hello. Folks, hang with us for these technical difficulties. Still hang with us.
Sure.
Oh, I hear. There he is.
What's up, guys?
Hey, we made it.
We made it. How you doing?
We're good. Sorry about the technical difficulties there, Jim. We're so happy that you could join us tonight.
Very happy to be here. It's always good to talk to you guys.
Yes.
You know, I do not have, I think I hear Dan in the background, but I can't hear him.
Huh. We're going to still wade through these technical difficulties. Do we want to take a... Yeah, anyway. So, yeah, this is, again, we're trying to get Jim Davis here from the Good Athlete Project. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Sometimes these things happen. We're sorry about that. But, right now we do have a little football update for you if you're interested. We have the Titans that have just taken the lead 10-3 against the Indianapolis Colts. We'll see if this works. Hello.
Coach.
That's what I wondered. Do you want to hear?
Okay, can you hear me now?
I got you.
There we go.
Little connection.
It's called turning the switch on.
There it is.
So, anyway, for our listening audience, Jim has been on our show a couple of times. He's got this amazing nonprofit organization called the Good Athlete Project. I do want to talk, Jim, about what you did over the summer and this unprecedented event you held. But tell us about the Good Athlete Project, just for those folks who are joining us for the first time.
Sure. Yeah, I appreciate that. The Good Athlete Project is it's an education consulting foundation that I actually founded my last round in grad school. And the overarching goal is to maximize the potential of athletics as education. And within that, we have sort of two what we call verticals, or two silos of work. And it's events where we host events that really put the full potential of education at the forefront, highlight all the qualities, all the life lessons that one might think are being built through sports. We try to host events that really put those on full display. And then the other side of it is education. So we do a lot of professional development workshops, team-based workshops, and we actually contribute to research and break down research, and we have a host of sources for coaches who are interested in doing this work to go find the research and support their practice through some of the best science out there. So, and the way we do it, I think the unique approach to the work of the Good Athletes Project is that we've got a team of people who adjust based on the context of the situation, meaning, we're in Chicago and the needs of an athlete on the north side of the city might be different than an athlete on the west side of the city or the south side of Chicago.
Right.
And all of those are different than what's needed in Oklahoma or Boston or Texas. And we've been out to Haiti, and we've been out to Ireland, and site by site, context by context, we sort of evolve our work to meet the needs of a given group. So it's fun work. It's sort of labor intensive. There's no easy answers to character development but it's work we're willing to do. And so for that reason, we love it.
Yeah. So just remind us what some of the values that you have for the Good Athlete Project and things that you hope to carry on and share with some of your students, your mentors.
Absolutely. So one of the biggest things is appreciation for lifelong health and wellness, and we really do believe that a lot of life lessons begin right there. We have what we call the bedrock or foundational level of our workshops, and that's we discuss understanding, motivation, and access to nutrition, exercise, and sleep. Eat, move, sleep. That's kind of our bedrock principle, and we figure if we can help get those things right in a person's life, they stand a better shot at all sorts of other positive outcomes. So that's sort of the biggest one. The anchor concepts in terms of once we get up to our what we call the gap capacity level, teaching the character staples, what people often refer to as SEL, social emotional learning. The stuff that we really value there is terms that may or may not be familiar, but grit, growth mindset, resilience, empathy, ability to communicate, and all the real. We'll go into a place with those as sort of anchor ideals, and then I think what makes our work special is we work hard to figure out how those things look place by place. Meaning, I actually had this conversation. I was on a call earlier today. We were talking about the idea of grit, and grit in the research is defined as passion and perseverance toward long-term goals. And who wouldn't agree that that's probably a positive thing? In a researcher named Angela Duckworth, she's essentially turned that instinct into a science and proven it out, that passion and perseverance toward long-term goals has all sorts of other positive impacts in one's life. Well, that's true and that's important, but there are certain teams that we work with that might use all of their grit by lunchtime, just going through the world as it is, if that makes sense. And in the metaphor we use this sometimes, and guys, I like to talk, so if I
you're good.
Oh, you're good. I love to listen to you.
But and this is I will keep this completely anonymous, but this comes from a very real situation, and it aligns a lot of the things that we've discussed already. But you can imagine a scenario where if you're a student, if you're a high school student, in sort of maybe a tough side of any given city, and you wake up on the couch because that's the situation that you're in, sort of groggy, and you're the new addition to your household, the baby, is crying all night. And you wake up completely sleep deprived, and then say it's a Chicago winter in a neighborhood that's not super safe, and you've got to walk to school, and you do so, and then all of a sudden you get to school, and you're greeted with security guards and a metal detector, and you're kind of going class by class, and it's a school where 2-3 fights will break out every day, and you're really hoping that you're not going to be involved in one of them. And you can see what I mean by this. And then you go to your English class, and the English instructor quit in the fall. So by winter, they still haven't filled the class yet. So you're literally instructed to go onto the computer in the library and go on YouTube. That's how you fill your time in English class. Like, you know, and we can go down this you know, the storytelling line with all day, but oftentimes whatever grit that young person may have tried to develop over time, it may all be used up by lunchtime.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. So which and it's interesting because it doesn't mean that grit's not important.
Yeah.
You know, it means it's especially important. But I think we're sort of tasked as educators and administrators and coaches to sort of recognize all the other, you know, pieces that are in play in a situation like that. So, and that's why I say, guys, that maybe you know, it looks different place by place. Grit, growth mindset, those are things we carry everywhere, but the context in which it is utilized, that will really sort of influence how we instruct a team, how we support a coach, etc.
Is there any magic formula to maybe teaching grit? Because I think that's, as a coach right now, coaching 7th and 8th grade girls basketball, is like, Butler actually used as a slogan a couple years ago, we're gritty not pretty, you know. And so I'm watching my girls basketball team, and I'm like, just where is that? Like, I want to develop that in an athlete, and I know it's probably different from maybe from girls to boys, but is there any way that is there a magic formula to developing grit other than just life circumstances and just longevity?
Yeah, that's a good question. The short answer is no, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the more full answer would be, you know, that's why people study these things, is to hopefully better equip practitioners to do this work. So the first part of, you know, how do you teach grit? Well, first you have to understand what it is. And if you're talking about passion and perseverance toward long-term goals, you know, the way we approach it is it's like any consulting gig. It's the way you bring a consultant into a business. What we do is say passion and perseverance toward long-term goals. This is the capacity we're working toward. What parts of this are missing? Well, oftentimes what we find is on a given team, maybe the long-term goal has not been explicitly articulated.
Okay.
If you based on the science, if we can't identify exactly what it is that we're moving toward, we cannot utilize the SEL capacity of grit to go get it, because we don't really know what we're looking for, if that makes sense. So that's part of our workshop. One of the first things we do, and guys, you want the magic pill. There isn't one, but here's one really big missing piece to a lot of cultures that we've seen that feels like an important lever to pull. Oftentimes, you just have to start to ask. You have to develop a culture where people can ask for what they want. Absolutely. And can tell you what they need. Yep. And it's just connecting with another human being.
Sure.
You know,
yeah.
And that's big. And then what you do to take that one step further is, once you know where people want to go, now as coaches, we try to lay the track, and then help people frame their response to challenges along the way, which, as we all know, are unavoidable. Challenges are coming. So,
you know, what's interesting, and I don't know if you're familiar with Bill Nichols or not. He's a long-time Chicago area powerlifter. He's been around for, since the mid-'80s.
The name is familiar. Yeah. I don't know if you've told me about him before.
Probably.
Or what, but I definitely recognize that name.
I remember back in 1991, and I was still, 6-7 years into powerlifting. I was still struggling, and Bill comes up to me. I'm doing a squat session at like 1 a.m. in the morning in Hagerstown, Maryland, and Bill comes up and starts spotting me, and he just says, hey, man, there's 3 things you're missing, and if you fix them, you're going to be a really good lifter. And it's kind of like what you're talking about. He said, diet, rest, exercise. That's it. That's the secret formula.
There you go.
And I thought, I got none of those because I don't get any sleep. I eat on the road,
Right.
and I train at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Oh,
So,
man.
Mm-hmm.
but I figured out a way how to implement those into my regimen and got a little wiser in my training. And my squat went up 100 pounds in a year just
Dang.
from that advice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah,
word.
isn't that amazing? Like it's we're always, we want a pill or a potion or we want to take a trip to GNC that
Yeah.
changes our life,
Yeah.
and oftentimes it's just getting our habits under control.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, when it comes to like the life lessons in coaching, one of the reasons that we always start at that bedrock level is because we've also found it's not only are those really powerful levers to pull, but you can really start teaching grit and good habits and all that stuff in sort of a I don't want to say stress-free, but in a situation where not as much seems like it's at stake. Meaning, you want to demonstrate some resilience, some discipline, etc. Okay, put Netflix away.
Yeah.
Or put your phone away and go to bed on time. These are sort of light lifts.
How dare you?
That build towards the SBL skills, but also make people healthier and perform better.
No, no, that's such a good word. I think so. But you're taking my phone and my Netflix away. I don't like that.
most kids don't.
No.
That's some amazing stuff, and that's why I think you and I have had these conversations multiple times in the last few years, and it just amazes me. I've always had this belief that it's and you've heard me say this before. We become tired and fatigued. We default to bad habits, and what we have
no doubt. Yeah.
And what we have to do is recondition better habits so that when we do become, because we're going to get weathered no matter what, you're going to have those times of stress and life and circumstance, and you're going to become fatigued, either mentally or physically, and you have to condition the responses that you have to be in the good frame instead of the bad frame, the dark side, the light, whatever you want to call it. But
sure.
And I'm so appreciative of the work you do and your philosophies. And if you ever find yourself needing a speaker in Chicago, I've got Bill's number. He'd be an amazing speaker for you guys. I mean, he's that kind of guy. I mean, he's a retired police officer. He was a detective. He worked for the Postal Service as an inspector, and man, he can command a room. He's about 6 foot 275, and he knows how to use it.
Dang.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
No, I'd love to at some point connect with him.
Yeah.
If he's local.
He is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's Chicago. He lives in Naperville.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
We also call that Naper Thrill.
Naper Thrill.
Naper Thrill.
Yeah. Wow. So Jim, I know that you had plans for your group to lift in a national championship over the spring and summer, and that didn't get to happen because of COVID. So you came up with this innovative idea. Why don't you tell our listening audience what you did and what you came up with?
Yeah, we well, it was sort of as simple as this. We recognized, it wasn't just our kids. You're right. We were planning a trip down to Oklahoma City, and we were going to have our kids lift. The timing was such that we had literally just checked, and I'm not exaggerating about this. We had just checked the final box in our checklist for the last kid to put their down payment in on a plane ticket.
Oh, wow.
And we've got our roster together, and we've won the girls division and the boys division the year before, and we were geared up and ready to go, and we felt good, and we had a good group of people, and then boom, shut down.
Yeah.
In my line of work, we also were very fortunate. We work with the baseball team. We worked with boys and girls lacrosse teams, so the girls soccer team. So it wasn't just our powerlifting kids. It was, all the kids we work with shut down. It doesn't take much to realize, that's happening
everywhere,
all over the country, at the high school and college level. So we started to think. We just one day, honestly, we were on a Zoom call. We're like, what do we do for our kids? We quickly got to what are we going to do for all kids? And we just started coming up with this idea, because this was, if you remember, back in March, no one had any idea how long the thing's going to last. There were some people who thought we'd be done by spring break.
Yeah.
There was at Nebraska we'd be back by Easter, and et cetera, et cetera. And so it was the uncertainty was strange. But one thing we said was, we think minimally we're going to be able. One of the safest things we could do would be lift, would be train,
right.
Because it's such a controlled atmosphere. We can space people out, we can mask people up, and we think we're going to be able to pull this off in a safe way. So, long story short, we said, why not host an online powerlifting competition with virtual submission? There's a standard for that. CrossFit's done it for years, and so virtual submissions to an online powerlifting competition through an app called Train Heroic. I don't know if you guys have seen that software before, but we
right.
And then we just started moving. We said, well, what's this going to take? And we looked for partnerships, and ultimately ended up with Kabuki Strength, which makes them the best equipment out there, and they're really, really good guys. Chris Duffin is their founder, and they're trying to change the world through strength. They've said that outright. So very lucky to get some nice donations of prizes, and then we just started to market a little bit, to whatever our audience was. And it wasn't as big as we'd hoped, and we had, we had some people sign up and not compete, which is totally okay.
Yeah.
But we ended up with about 150
That's still
listeners
incredible.
from all over the place. We had
Wow.
we had Texas, we had Oklahoma, we had Illinois, we had Ohio. Where else? We had Pennsylvania. So we've got lifters from all over the place entering this competition, competing for prizes, competing for trophies and awards. And honestly, it felt really good. We got very nice feedback, and it felt really good to try to be there for people and provide something to train for at a time when there was just incredible uncertainty and honestly sadness for the loss of an athletic season, because we've been training so hard and it's gone. And so we wanted to be there for. So,
well, it was it was pretty incredible.
It was really cool.
The idea you came up with to do that, and I think it and the message you sent there, Jim, you may never know entirely the impact that you had, but I think you kind of got a sense of it from the coaches and obviously from people personally like myself, it was almost like I want to say a lifesaver, but it was a breath of fresh air that it's more than just lifting in the gym once a week or twice a week or whatever. There's a purpose behind it, and that's just that's why you're in the position that you are, and why smart guys always figure out a way, and I certainly appreciate what you did.
Oh yeah, it's just that hearing that is incredible, and just because it was a time where you're like, where do we go forward? Because there's so many sports that were, especially in the March, April, May part of things. It's like, what do we even do right now?
What do we do?
Yeah.
We had one of our Team Black founders. He's the head basketball coach at one of the local high schools here, and they had about 10 minutes before their opening round of the state championship tournament, the whole tournament got canceled, and they were and he's been coaching for 20 years, and he's never won a state title as a coach, and yet he felt like he had the best team going in, and he just it just kind of not only floored his whole team, but himself as well. And and that's going on everywhere, not just in Oklahoma. It's going on in in Chicago and Dallas and all these seasons, and I don't know how football's going in Chicago. Oklahoma City has managed to put together a football season, and the state playoffs start this weekend, but I don't know if they're going to get through it or not.
It honestly could be deja vu here shortly, just with the COVID numbers going up so high, and so it's going to be up to how do you manufacture some of that again. So
are you guys going to get? Have y'all been playing football in Chicago?
No, Illinois didn't play.
Yeah,
Illinois did not play. So
they were open.
I'm with you guys, and you think I hear that story, and it brings me back to these moments, and I can't help but think, for a lot of people involved in this, it was their last crack at it too.
Mm-hmm.
You think about it as there's like mourning for the loss of a season and the loss of an opportunity. But for some people, it's the loss of a career. They don't get to go play in college.
Yeah, that's
right.
right.
A lot of these kids.
Yep.
So I'm with you.
And it's not just limited to sports. I mean, kids, didn't get to graduate or didn't get to walk across the stage and receive their diploma. And I mean, it's just a lot of it. And I know you feel for those because you're geared, towards kids and seeing fulfillment and accomplishment. And it's almost like it didn't happen, which has got to be hard. Got to be hard.
No doubt, and that's a really good point because what we have tried to do for a lot of the people. Not only did we obviously try to create that event and make it meaningful for people, but we've also tried to help people frame the situation that's going on. Like I said, I'm using these words like mourning and loss, and I'm not trying to be dramatic. This is true. This is real.
It is.
I remember how sad I was. Sad, it's just always sort of bittersweet. But when my high school football career came to an end, and before I went off to college, and I can't imagine what it would have been like had I not seen that coming. Just to be blindsided by that,
absolutely,
would have been really difficult. Now, what we do try to essentially share with people, though, is that is a little bit of perspective. Like, the career, everyone wants their senior season. Everyone wants their final crack at being with their teammates and all that stuff. But the truth is, if the coaches and the cultures are right, if we've been doing it right, then even those spring athletes who didn't get to play their final season, hopefully they had 3.75 years of really meaningful athletic experience. And when you zoom out and think of it that way, it's like, we lost a quarter of our final year.
Yes.
This, and it is sad, but this whole thing wasn't for nothing. So we actually, coming out of it, we hosted some Zoom meetings where we just brought a team together and had them reflect.
Yeah.
And tell stories of, bus rides and locker rooms and good times, to sort of remind them that, this isn't ideal. But man, we did the reason that it hurts a little bit is because we had all these good times leading up to it. So anyway, that and you're right. I hope we don't see something exactly like we did in the spring.
Yeah.
It feels like we're going to see something.
Yeah.
But hopefully we'll all be a little bit more prepared for it. There'll be more to do. We'll get more creative, and I don't know. You got to be optimistic, I suppose. No, I don't suppose.
Well, you do. You got to be encouraging. You got to keep moving forward. And unfortunately, you can get trapped and held back in what could have been and what might have happened and what didn't happen. But you just, you got to be an encouraging light to everybody, not just kids. But I mean, we're dealing with this with adults as well. I mean, loss of jobs and careers and things like that have been put on hold or changed. So. So are you guys staying healthy and everything? Everything going okay with y'all?
What a kind guy. Yeah, we're doing all right, thankfully. And honestly, in the grand scheme of things, that's the question, isn't it? Like,
is everybody okay?
We're in a global pandemic, and thankfully, my family, to this point, is healthy and well.
Awesome.
So. We're going to, my mom is, my sister had a baby, he turned 1, the day before the quarantine.
Yeah.
And there's nothing my mom wants to do more than go be a grandma.
Yeah.
And she'd do it 24/7 if she could.
Sure.
So there are little struggles, but then we always do sort of, even as a family, we come back to these ideas where we try to put that stuff in perspective. In the grand scheme of things, your grandchild is healthy.
Yeah.
You are healthy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Perspective matters.
Yeah.
Man, it doesn't seem like every time you can't have a conversation these days without talking about COVID. Doesn't it seem like that?
It's
Everything's dominated by it. Absolutely.
It's like it's the old like, how's the weather?
Yeah.
I mean, it is. Yeah, it for sure is. Maybe not so much down in Oklahoma. We've kind of maybe just kind of carried on with normal life a little bit more. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't know if I would do it the way that we've done it, but it's whatever, you know. And so.
I mean, we're all masked up and.
Yeah.
And and I work, and I'm not that people not working, but I'm out every day exposed to people.
Right.
And I just gotta have faith that I'm going to be protected and do the best I can to protect myself and those around me, and and encourage that and teach that, because I have people that work for me that I have to make sure they stay safe. So it's been a challenge.
Right.
Yeah, and in the school, we're face to face down here. Still, I haven't had, but a few kids that have hopped on distance learning, and it's interesting for sure. We're still playing basketball with masks on for the time being, so we'll see. But it's a different world for sure.
Well, Jim, I mean, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it is a different world. I agree. There's a lot to think about.
Well, are you, if things stay the way they are and we are not able to get, out and we still have these issues, are you thinking of doing the online nationals again next year?
Did you lose him? Did your phone die?
Can you hear me okay? Sorry.
Yeah, we lost you there for a second.
Sorry. Yeah, so we are planning on doing it. And
Good.
The timing is a funny thing, because we had a conversation with our staff about it. It is a lot of work to pull off, if I'm being totally honest. 150 people, and you don't get to, you've hosted and been part of countless powerlifting meets, but you can stand up in front of a crowd and address 100 at a time.
Yeah.
In the online version, these are emails and text exchanges and direct messaging through social media over and over and over. So the workload is pretty high. So we had to confront that. Is this something that we want to replicate, especially with the hopes that if we do it again, we do it even bigger and better.
Right.
And essentially what we said is, listen, our mission hasn't changed.
Yeah.
If we find ourselves in a similar spot, the logic probably won't have changed. There's probably one sport that's safer than all others.
Yes.
And that is the one, powerlifting, where we can control the atmosphere a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a need, and the student athletes are hurting or are at home alone and need a light at the end of the tunnel,
Sure.
I mean, that's part of our mission. We're pretty driven to do it. So short answer is, if we see the need, if there's some sort of long quarantine or lockdown again, I don't see how we couldn't.
Well, that's encouraging, and I can assure you got support here from us at Team Black, that's for sure.
Well, I appreciate it. And, and you guys crushed it. You know that already, of course. I don't know if
we did win the national championship.
Yeah, the Open Division Team Championship went to Team Black.
Yeah.
So,
I almost forgot about that.
You got a title to defend, if nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're still able to do powerlifting meets here with obviously restrictions, and we hosted our event August 1st, which you're aware of, and then there's another meet this weekend. That we have 6 people competing in that event. So we've been training through it, and we had at the meet that we held in August, we had three individuals set American records, USPF raw records. All 3 of them have opportunities to do that again this weekend, to break their own records. So
incredible.
We're kind of excited.
That's unbelievable. Are these who were they? Were they names I recognize?
They are the 15-year-old Austin Spangler.
Austin Spangler, yeah.
He had a 505-pound squat at 15 years old, and then Troy Marsh, which is another one of the entrants in the online nationals. and then
Very much, yeah.
and then our master guy is Marco Hinosa. He broke the bench press record, and he'll get a chance to do that again this weekend. So
that's unbelievable.
And then we
got
a couple of kids
good luck
lifting
for
as
you
well
all.
that
That's amazing.
We've had a couple of kids that have a shot at state records too. So we're pretty excited.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So.
And that's what a cool thing. And that's sort of the magic of this whole experience is, like I use that term, light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they all get it.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they've still done something so meaningful at a time when not many people would be willing to step up the plate and give it a shot. So that's awesome, Dan.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Well, Jim, we appreciate your time. I know it's kind of valuable, and you got a lot of things going on. Before we let you go, you got any words of wisdom for us? Any parting words?
We had our pizza.
Yeah. I'm sorry, golly. Thank you for telling me. That's a whole other segment.
No,
thanks, Kyle.
No, I had to weigh in. You're a lose guy, right? You're Lou Malnati's? Is that?
I am Lou Malnati's all the way.
All the way.
The question of what's the elite pizza in Chicago?
Yeah, that's it.
It's known for pizza. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Are you a lose guy as well?
Oh yeah, 100%. There's no other way.
I'm with you, man.
What's the competitors down there? Tell me about. Say me the top 5 pizzas in Chicago.
Well, so usually there's a big, kind of what's talked about is you have Lou's.
Yeah.
Lou Malnati's.
Yeah.
You have Gino's East.
Okay.
And you have Giordano's.
Okay.
Those are the big 3 that everybody talks about the most. That's kind of the chain.
Yep.
And it's funny, it's like you can kind of go off course, but really those are the best.
Are those all Chicago style deep dish?
Yes.
No New York style pizza in Chicago at all?
We don't mess with that. That's nonsense.
Come on.
The thin crust guy. Come on.
An appetizer.
Yes. Yeah. So there are days just because I've been here for 5 years now, and there are days that I miss a deep dish so bad.
Humble pie.
No, it's not quite there.
Okay.
There's an imitator down here that it's nice to try every once in a while.
It's Chicago style.
It is. They got the style actually right. It's not like going to old Chicago and like this is Chicago style, but it's not.
No.
But I miss it. But I also miss Portillo's so bad.
Oh yeah.
And they were the first ones to have the Chick-fil-A style drive-through. That they were doing that years before Chick-fil-A was, and I'm convinced that they taught Chick-fil-A's business model there.
So tell somebody, help me out here. I'm going to ask Jim first, then if he doesn't have the answer, I'll go to Kyle. So where is the origination of the Chicago style? How did it get started? Who did it? How did it come about?
I'm not sure.
I could not answer that, and I'm ashamed. I wish I could.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it was Guy Fieri. I don't know. Like I have
no idea.
Come on. I'm just kidding. No, I have no idea. But I miss the Chicago cuisine so much. Like there's some good food in the area, and that's
I'm gonna can I make a guess? I might be totally wrong. Here's my guess though. I mean, I think is it probably inspired just by like the cold winters and the harsh climate? You want sort of hearty food.
You do.
Maybe people, you know what I mean? Like maybe we took it and made it a little deeper. There's all sorts of like Hungarian cuisine around here, German.
Yep.
I wonder. I don't know, but I'm gonna look into it.
Yeah, I think we need some research
on
that.
We got research. That's right.
I'm a history guy. I need to know how. I mean, it's like there's this on the History Channel. There's a food that built America or something like that, and you find out about Post Toasties and Kellogg's and the M&M Candy Company and Hershey's. All those stories about how they're invented and originated is what we have today.
Sure.
So why not in pizza?
I don't know. So. But it is interesting though. It's like for people that haven't had it before, it's like you can only have 2 slices of deep dish.
I think I'd probably just do one.
Yeah, like make 2 pieces tops, and then and if you get regular pizza, it's cut into squares. It's not. We don't do triangles.
Well, it's round though. Are you gonna cut a round one into squares?
They just cut it. in
yeah.
the squares.
What do you do? Take it out of the pan or something, or how does that work?
I'm not sure, but they just cut it in squares. That's
Okay,
all.
so on social media, I've seen these places where you can actually order Chicago deep dish pizza, Lou's Pizza.
Yes,
I'm curious to how that comes and if it's any good.
I have had it, and it is good.
Okay.
It's not
Is
quite
it?
as good, yeah, but it is good. They freeze, they'll put it at the
Dry ice it or whatever.
dry ice and all of that, and I've had a couple those ways when
It's like $60, Jim, to
Yeah.
get one pizza.
when I've missed home.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's worth it to me.
That's a lot of money. That's you get steaks for it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well,
That's seriously, you get
yes.
high quality steak. But
Yeah.
there is something about it. It's a hard thing to replicate, especially Lou's recipe. I got to get. I mean, shout out to everyone I know in the Malnati family. If they ever hear this, they're great people. Also, the
That's
Malnatis. So yeah, there's really nothing like it. I think if I were gone out of Chicago for long enough, I would drop $60 to get a Lou's pizza. Yeah,
Huh.
It's
I think
true.
that sounds right.
It's so true. Like, I mean, I'm ready for, like, it happens about every time this time of year. Like, it's something about the holiday season reminds you of home, and you're like, I just need a deep dish. For sure.
Yeah,
So,
it makes sense.
Well, I'm hungry now.
there you go.
And I haven't eaten since like 10 o'clock this morning.
Oh,
'cause
man,
I had
we
dental
gotta-
work.
we
So I had
gotta-
dental work. I couldn't eat.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we got to get you some
I've
food.
got to have some food. I might have to drive to Chicago.
That's an episode of How About Your Mother.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Well, all right.
Well,
So now,
if you want to make the trip, Dan, you got a place to stay. Just know that.
done. Don't make promises you're not willing to keep, Jim, because I'm liable to do it, buddy.
Well, you might have to sleep on a couch in an apartment, but
That's okay.
the offer stands.
I don't care. I don't care. All right. So, parting words before we have to let you go.
Yeah, I don't. To the audience, I don't know. I think we actually have this motto that we're using that as we head indoors. We're going to try to pull off some indoor strength and conditioning sessions this winter, and our motto is going to be stronger together, and that crosses all sports. We're hoping to have about 700 athletes in our indoor spaces, and we're using gyms, assuming that the basketball season doesn't go. We're using pretty much any corner of the school we can to spread out and stay safe. But that, like I say, that's the motto: stronger together. We'll train together.
Stronger together.
We'll have a shared purpose. We'll get through this together. And that, I think as we head into the winter, that's something I hope a lot of people are willing to kind of take a moment and really hear. Because what I don't want is for our athletes or anyone out there, anyone listening, to feel like they've got to go bunker down this winter in full isolation. And if they're going to suffer in silence and suffer alone, the community, the strength community in general, is a really supportive one. So I hope that stays on the forefront of people's minds as we enter whatever the next chapter of this looks like.
Well, we certainly, and I hope everybody around you appreciates what you do and what you've done, and to continue that mission of improving people's and kids' lives. I mean, to me, that's that's my passion. And I always refer to it, help people get out of their own way, and generally it's common for just about any age. Someone probably any age bracket who just seems to always make, and I don't want to say bad decision, but they could have made better choices. And
sure.
And that doesn't make me one who makes good choices all the time. I mean, we all mess up. We're all creatures of God, and we know we're going to make mistakes. But trying to help somebody crawl out of that is what my mission is.
Yeah. Well, that's a meaningful mission. It's meaningful work. Can I throw out one more sort of idea in line with all of that? One thing we're really pushing on is what we call our Team Embrace campaign, and that's embracing the conversation of mental health in athletics. So I'd invite everyone to check out our Instagram page. You can find it. I think you can find it through our Good Athlete Project one, but if not, it's at Team Embrace MH. So like Team Embrace Mental Health, Team Embrace MH. Also teamembrace.net.
Okay.
And I'd also invite anyone who's interested, in you two especially, to submit an article to teamembrace.net. We're trying to share stories of empowerment, open up the conversation of mental health. And like I say, entering this winter, for whatever reason, we just feel like that sort of support is going to be necessary, and we want to make sure that community stays as strong as it is.
Yeah, that's good stuff, and it's a good point. Yeah. All right, Jim. Well, I certainly appreciate Casey and the Gunslinger. He's not with us tonight. Certainly appreciate you joining us. And, man, it's always great conversation. It's always good hearing from you. And, man, just stay safe and, do your best and do your diligence as you always do, brother.
I appreciate you guys. You do the same. Reach out anytime. I'm always here. And, let's keep this conversation going.
All right, buddy.
Absolutely.
Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
All right.
Hey.
Jim Davis, Good Athlete Project in Chicago, Illinois, and has just an amazing mission and a project. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. He goes all over the world, and basically what he does, if you listen to any of our conversation, is he tries to help young people create better habits in their life that help them kind of get on their way and make better choices, better health habits, rest, diet, exercise, get away from social media devices. And I think he's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, he's an all-around stud. It's good to hear from him, and he brings so much to the conversation. I could just listen to him all day. Literally, he's an incredible mind. Great what he's doing for kids and for athletes. It's awesome.
So if you're listening to us on the show, I didn't switch over. Now we're back. It'll be a little delayed on that end. So you got a devotion? You want to share?
I do.
I saw you working on something over there.
Yep. So this is just talking about just the gift of God, and it says, "Do I have anything to offer?" And I think it's good. Like sometimes I think right now it's easy to get stagnant during this time. We're so tired and exhausted, and I get it. It's COVID. COVID fatigue is a real thing. I think there's people that are just exhausted all the time, but it just needs to be said that we still, there's gifts that we have, and there's talents that the Lord has given us that we can't forget about. And this is what it says it's a devotion on 1 Corinthians, and it says this. Each of us have a unique ability. For instance, some are blessed with the ability to write, and within the field of writing, a special something sets each writer apart from another. Paul, the writer of 1 Corinthians, had the ability to preach. In 1 Corinthians 9:20-23, we see his special something in his ability to relate to the people he's trying to reach. Working through people's gifts is how God reached us, and how he wants to work through us to reach others. God knows us, and he put people in our path who shared the good news about Jesus. Maybe it was a pastor who presented the gospel so clearly and passionately you couldn't resist. Maybe it was a blogger whose story inspired you to want to know Jesus who rescued her. Or maybe it was a friend who served you well during your time of need and didn't give up on you. Working through people's gifts is how God reached us and how he wants to work through us to reach others. Just like God put people in our path to reach us, he gives us talents and abilities that allow us to interact with specific people who need to know him. The gift of salvation through Jesus is so incredible. It compares us to share the gospel with others. In 1 Corinthians 9:17, Paul writes, "If I preach voluntarily, I have a reward." God wants us to use our gifts for good. Most importantly, he wants us to use all the ability we have been given to share the gospel with as many as people as possible. We voluntarily use our gifts because seeing people meet Jesus is the best reward we can receive. The gift we have isn't a mistake. It is specially designed for us to use to reach people far from God in unique circumstances of our lives. And then it goes through 1 Corinthians 9, 15 through 20, and that's what it's talking about, is just using our gifts. And I think what Jim Davis has done, what you have done, Dan, is very much that, is you've used gifts that the Lord has given you, both physically, and you've taken those, those physical gifts. These aren't even spiritual gifts, but you've turned them into spiritual gifts,
Yes.
which is incredible. And so you've realized the platform, and I think that's so important for us moving forward. And I think that's as for me, that's what I hope to do as a teacher. Is I know I have great gifts with students, so I try to use them on a daily basis. Now I don't get to specifically use them as much as I used to, but it's so incredibly important to use the gifts that God's given you.
Well, I know you will, through all you go through and what you do,
Yeah.
and your passion. So, well, while we got just a couple of minutes left, any reflections on our last year? Anything you comes to mind that stands out?
No, I think that it needs to be said that Dan is the engine that makes this thing go.
Whatever.
He doesn't want to take a compliment right now, but we would not have an in-studio show like we do if it wasn't for all the hard work that Dan puts in on a weekly basis. I just show up and talk about sports, so. But I'm very thankful for you, Dan, and for Josh as well, the gunslinger, and we wish him well. We hope that he's back very soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a great first year.
And once again, if you are listening to us for the first time, or you maybe have been catching a few of our episodes, you're not quite sure how to find out more, all our episodes are on Facebook, on
That's
our
right.
Fatihletic page. Number 2 is, if you want to go back and look at past episodes, go to our YouTube channel, just type in Fatihletic and hit the subscribe button. And if you like, you can also hit the alert button, and every time we post a new episode, you can get it. And you can see, you get an alert that's there, and you can save it and watch it later or whatever. There's about 45 episodes on there in all. One season, I believe 35 episodes, 36 episodes, and then there's been about 6 or 7 this season that some of them I'm not loaded yet, but I'm going to get to them soon. So, Kyle, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for making this show entertaining, because I certainly couldn't do it by myself. I'm not that good.
Yeah, hey, we make each other good, that's for sure.
Yeah,
so
we feed off each other.
That's right.
And along with that, the gunslinger, man, I hope you get to feeling better. We miss you. We love you. And for our listening audience out there, just remember that there is hope, that Jesus changes everything. You're loved and you're never alone. And we'll see you next week, 8 o'clock.
Yep.
Fatihletic. This is DB. I'm with
KC.
And we are
Fatihletic
The Podcast. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. Love you guys.
True love.